So women are really holding up the world here. And the women legislators who are just speaking up, they are in such, I think we're so far down in the number of elected women leaders in this state, and they are carrying a huge weight, and particularly the leaders, I would say, of color in our city, but also, in our state.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were going to talk about...
So yeah, well, let's talk about the big blow up that happened. Senator Charlene Oliver I am so grateful that she is in office because wow, she is really doing some incredible stuff. So if you didn't know, there was a bit of a disappointing, mediocre white man stomping all over.
A revenge moment.
Black woman and a white woman, honestly. So, I don't know. Do you want to bring us up to speed on what we're talking about?
Yeah, sure. So, last week, in one of the last committee meetings of the week, and I think it was House, City and County Government. I think that's the one it was. Charlene Oliver had already passed a bill that had to do with hedge funds and housing, that it would make it no longer possible for investors to buy up large chunks of housing, take them out of the affordable housing market, and then put them out as rentals. So it was
State Senator Charlene Oliver, this was her bill, which on the federal level, the Senate just had a bipartisan bill, very similar on the federal level.
But she's been working on this for 2 years.
She has.
Yes, and so she brought it last session. It was bipartisan. Yes, and
I will say really quickly, as a real estate agent, this is my favorite bill because I think it's 30% of homes are owned by hedge funds, and then they're being rented back to folks. I could do a whole podcast episode on this alone. So really important bill, especially for our first-time home buyers and affordable housing. Great bill that Charlene brought and was passed by our state Senate. By
party, right?
Everybody voted for it.
Everyone voted for it. And what is if everybody's voting for it, they get that it's something positive for all the people in the state. If you get, sometimes they steal a bill, like they stole the grocery tax from Bain, and now there's last session, and now there's a couple of grocery tax bills coming through, and Charlene, but this one got through the Senate. Everybody was so excited. So Bain was bringing it up into the committee. And what has to happen in a committee is you introduce your bill, and then someone will move on the committee, will make a motion to move the bill, and then you need a second. And last session, what happened was Representative Shaw from Memphis, who's retiring, was in a committee with Representative Justin Jones, who we'll just say he didn't particularly like. And Representative Jones had a really good bill. It was a great bill. And Shaw, we sat there and watched Shaw leave the room when the vote was happening.
Shaw is a Democrat.
Correct.
Jones is a Democrat.
That's right. And Shaw did not give a second. He was not there to give a second. So Jones's bill dies and Shaw walks back in. And we all were like, we didn't quite say you shit, but that's about what we were saying.
And it's important to note that it's very rare that anyone's going to cross party lines, particularly Republicans into Democrats, to give a second. But it is very rare. I have seen it happen. It's incredibly, incredibly rare.
But not just that. After that happened with Shaw and Jones, some of us happened to we went with Jones to the next caucus meeting of the Democrats. And there was a clear decision that was made. No Democrat will leave another Democrat hanging for a second. You must offer a second. Well, that brings us up to what happened with Beau and Bain. So Bain brings her bill forward.
Afton Bain.
The
bill that she has with Charlene that has just passed the Senate.
Exactly. And Dixie offers the motion to bring the bill, to move the bill. And Beau Mitchell, Democrat from Bellevue, sat there, did nothing, just was silent.
Did not give the second.
And so the bill died. you can imagine that the advocates have been furious. Women have been beside themselves. People who are in the housing field are like, what the heck? And we all know it was petty politics because Bain beat Beau in the congressional race last year. And so he was holding on to that all this time to take her down. And the reason we really know, can I just offer you, is that I real quickly looked up when were the last date to file your papers for to run for a primary. And
You're
it was
talking
the
about
10th.
A house.
Yes,
to rerun for his current house seat.
Correct. Okay. Or for anyone else to file to run against him. The deadline was on the 10th. This happened on the 11th. He waited to see that he did not have a Democratic.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that he didn't have a Democratic challenger. So he thought he could get away with this, and I'll call it shit.
Wow.
It was awful.
Wow.
So it was calculated. It was so obvious it was calculated, right? Yeah, and so the coming out of this, right, we heard, I think Monday, he's going to offer Bain
Well, first of all, he came out and said, hey, it was a bad bill. I didn't second it because it was a bad bill.
Which was so wrong. And then also there was a question about whether Bain could have gotten it passed. But not, two things. One, there was a strategy. He just wasn't in on the strategy. Like the know-it-all man, right? No, Charlene and Bain had a strategy for what they were going to do to make sure this moved in the House, which he was not privy to. So he was throwing out excuses for why he did what he did. There's no excuse. The caucus had all agreed, and he messed up big time.
And got a lot of pushback from the community. I mean, it really traveled, I think it traveled way outside of Tennessee because Charlene Oliver had a very pointed response to him. And it really did go viral, which was beautiful.
Go find it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good.
It's incredible.
So he did some backpedaling.
And I just want to say, okay, white men and white women, if you got a feud going, the thing you do not do is throw an African-American woman under the bus, right? Like we're all upset for Bain. But I'll tell you, I was furious that a white man would use a black woman, her bill, to get back at Bain. Like, there's no excuse for that. There's like absolutely, and if you need to go back and do some study here. You need to go back and figure out the history of race in this country and why you just do not do this as a Democrat. Period. The end, no question. Yeah. So should we say what happened then?
Well, yeah. So his attempt at any kind of mea culpa, although it really fell short, but he attempted to basically pass the bill back and explain how that happened. Right?
Sure. So yesterday, we had gotten the word a couple days ago that he was going to give Afton one of his housing bills that she could put the hedge fund bill on top of. So we watched him in committee yesterday, and he went up to the chair of the committee and had a little and then sat down. And then when the bill came up, it did not pass. This bill did not pass because the Republicans don't particularly like him. I mean, he's taken them down on the floor over and over again, right? Yeah, no, it did not pass. And so his weak effort, but for me, the bigger thing was that was a public act, what he had done. Mm-hmm. And you don't reach any kind of reconciliation with the folks who feel injured, including myself and you, I would say, on behalf of Charlene and Afton. It has to be a public act like that. You know, if I hurt you personally, I come personally to talk about it. If I hurt you in front of the family, that's my job, in front of the family, to seek reconciliation. This is a situation that happened in front of everybody. It's on a video. He didn't make up for anything. He made up for nothing. Yeah, so it's dead until next year. And so many people will not benefit from the passage of this bill because of his petty politics. And I'm just like, Democrats, stop fighting with each other. That we know who the quote unquote enemy is here. We know the Republicans are out to just pass the worst. It's the worst legislation I've ever seen down here. Just, it's awful, awful, awful. All of us are up here just in pain and anguish watching what's going down. Democrats, do get each other's back and stop whatever this petty politics is with each other. Yeah, focus.
I agree.